No. And it's so funny because like he always waits to talk about serial killers once we're rolling.
Yeah.
Before that's the only time he goes on about it. Did you guys know?
No, I totally know. I mean, last time he was here, he like wouldn't stop talking about serial killers. Like, what's the deal, Ken?
Yeah. So
Just,
in his congrats by the way in your house,
Woo!
new house.
Yeah, new house.
So in his house, there's gonna be a shrine to Jeffrey Dahmer. So
That's perfect. That's on brand.
To each their own. Didn't the who are those dudes?
Menendez brothers.
Wasn't there something
Did
about
the
that?
Eminem brothers?
Yeah, wasn't there something to do about them recently in the news?
So there was a Netflix documentary, and I guess people found them attractive, and so they found it attractive. It was a compelling story, and they were all like, "Free those guys," and but I think that's died down. So
They're not free.
no, they're. Oh, they're
still in
It's
there.
like they didn't make the parole.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. They made it.
Colin's secretly in this. He's like, I'm actually very.
Okay,
I'm
Colin,
following.
little known fact about Colin, he follows like pop culture and who's dating who and what's going on with celebrities.
Who's
like,
dating who?
Yes, he knows everything.
Today's episode of the Laugh and Run podcast features one of the coolest running stores in the country, nestled away in small town America in Lexington, Virginia, Lex Running Shop. While the store may be less than a decade old, opening in 2018, they've quickly become a staple in their community and the running community, even getting featured as a top running store in Run Style magazine, which is the top running magazine of the industry. I'm so excited that they joined Ken and I today for this unique and exclusive approach to a new episode of the Laugh and Run podcast.
Here with you guys, Lex Run Shop, Lexington, Virginia. Small town America. I love this town. I love you guys. I think a good place to start is tell us. Actually, you know what? I'd love to start. Tell us how you guys met.
I'll let Colin tell the story.
Yeah, so, well,
I'm
the
excited.
parking spot, right?
That's right.
I feel like we're about to watch a fight.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good one. So, we met, well, Jess's older sister was in my class.
Uh-oh.
In my class at school at Baylor, and so, like, I knew of her, but I had never met Jess, and we were always flying home because we're from the same hometown as well, although we didn't know each other then. We'd fly home to Amarillo from Dallas, and so we met the first time on one of those like shuttle buses that takes you from your parking spot to the airport. And I can't remember what I said, but
Oh, I remember.
yeah, Jess.
What did he say?
So we're sitting on the bus and he's like,
Killer line.
you're Aaron's sister, right? And I'm like, yeah. And of course, growing up the little sister, this question was asked
Yeah, you
of
said
me
that.
all the time. I was always, chronically Aaron's little sister. And then I'm kind of quiet and he's like, so what's your major?
Nice.
So
That's probably
we
the
talked
future
about,
like professor in me.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you serious about your studies or?
and we talked about, like, I'm going to be really nerdy, but I was excited to talk about my major, and we talked about school and Baylor, and I feel like we really connected that day. So it was the nerd, always the nerd.
That's awesome. No, that's super cute. So that happened, and then was it just conversation into relationship?
Well, I was actually dating someone at the time, so
Scandalous. Of a
yeah.
placeholder, really.
So we got back to school, and Colin and his roommate started inviting me and my roommates out for like hangouts. So we would go get ice cream, we'd just go hang out.
Those are wholesome hangouts.
Yeah, so
Wholesome.
I think Colin was like determined to hang in there until the boyfriend was out of the picture.
Oh, that's sweet.
So, which is exactly what happened.
And that's when he hired the Menendez brothers.
And somehow that boyfriend just disappeared,
Yeah.
and I don't really know what happened.
We're here with Brenda. Brenda, how long have you worked at Lex Run Shop?
About over 4 years now.
Over 4 years. And what's been your favorite part about working here?
Well, there's a lot of them, so it'd be hard to narrow it to a few, but obviously Jess and Colin are great people to work for. The running industry itself is just such a great industry. The customers we get in here, their endorphins are going crazy usually, so they're always in a good mood. So, and it's just a great way to kind of connect with the community.
So what are some things you really like about Lexington outside of the running community?
Oh, so many. We've been in here over 20 some years now. We've raised our kids here. It's the kind of place where your kids can walk home from school and come downtown and meet you. You know what your kids are doing because everyone kind of knows your kids. So it's just a small town.
Any questions for me?
No.
Maybe, but
No.
you're like, what's wrong with you? I'd be
No,
like,
I
a lot.
will say that.
What brings you to Lexington, Virginia?
Well, Colin's job. At the time, Colin was kind of looking around at other schools, and you were friends with someone who lived in Charlottesville in the area, and you had a friend who went to Washington and Lee. So when that opportunity came up, in the academic world, there's a lot of moving and shifting and all of that. So Colin was at that place in his job where it was time for a move. So the opportunity came up in Lexington, and I remember the restaurant we were sitting at when he told me, like, there's this school in Lexington, Virginia. And I was like, where the hell is Lexington, Virginia? Like, where are you taking us? This like tiny town in rural Virginia. I was like, what? But we came for a visit, and it was wonderful. And I think having lived in Boston with the commuting and the driving and all of that, we were kind of done with, like, I'm not gonna look at jobs in Charlottesville and the commute, hours on end. It's like, we're moving to this small town. I want a job in this small town. And so
yeah, the idea was like to simplify.
simplify.
Yeah.
Like, take advantage of the best of what Lexington has to offer.
Yeah.
If you're commuting and have 2 hours a day, it's like, well, we could stay in New England and do that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think I've always had kind of an adventurous sort of spirit, and I'm pretty open-minded to doing whatever comes my way. So at the time, I just mentioned Sloan's Montessori preschool where she was going. There was an opening on the administrative side. They were looking for someone, and they asked me if I would consider. So I ended up working at her preschool as the executive assistant there, and so I worked there for 3 years, and then while Sloan was there, which was great.
Yeah.
So I got to work at her preschool, and we would go to school together and come home together, and so I got to be kind of a part of that school, and I learned a lot there. And when there's 2 people running an entire organization, you learn to wear a lot of hats, and so you're doing all sorts of things. And so that actually ended up being a great experience for me prior to opening the shop, to be honest. So, and then when Sloan, it was time for her to move on to elementary school, I felt like I had kind of reached the end of my time at the preschool, and that's when kind of this crazy idea sort of kind of fell into our laps.
So you're in Lex Running Shop, you finish working up at that job. What's that first conversation like? What's the first brainstorm like where you're like, we're gonna open up this running store?
What's the vibe gonna be?
So you're asking, like, after we've decided we're gonna do this?
Well, just like those first couple of conversations, because that's a huge thing to take on, and also like there aren't running stores in the area, so like you don't have a Marathon Sports to point to and go, well, it works for them, it can work for us. So like, what was the thought process? What was the everything?
I think that's where it came from.
That's where it came from.
We were running probably more once we moved here, and we're as just said a number of times, we're big supporters of local run shops. So we were driving to Charlottesville or driving to Roanoke to buy shoes like everybody else in town, and it just seemed like, man, that's a little far. You know what I mean? It's not crazy, but it's like maybe we could do this. Jess said that we should open a running shop. I was like,
no, I think you said that.
no.
Oh God!
I thought we were in the car. I remember driving back from Charlottesville, and you were like, "You should open a running shop," and I was like, "You are crazy."
Maybe I did. I don't know.
I think
I just remember the first couple of times it was like, yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you
Right.
have those conversations. You're like, wouldn't it be awesome if we
We should
filmed
move to
one?
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like
Become Rastafarians.
You should do that. Yeah.
totally awesome. Yeah. Well, I think we can agree that whoever said it was definitely the vibe of the conversation, which was like, oh, that would be awesome, but gosh, that's so crazy. But I will say, you have to admit, you have always had an idea in your mind of like opening a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's always been in you somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
And like us doing it together somehow.
I've always wanted to do something like that. Like I, teach accounting and finance. I think about this stuff. I've always kind of wanted to start a business.
And they did start a business. After finding out about the entrepreneurship program started by the local nonprofit Main Street Lexington, Jess entered the program and ended up winning grant money to open Lex Running Shop.
One of the kind of rules or regulations from the grant money that we received is we had to open by the end of September 2018. So,
But it's really cool. Like if you think about, so the city got this money from the state, and it wasn't a huge amount of money, maybe like $60,000.
it was 60,000 total. Yeah.
And the idea is to fill vacant
Storefronts.
spaces right downtown. And so they have this program, and then if you walk through downtown now, like Heliotrope Brewery down there came out of that. We came out of that. There's an awesome game shop down the street that came out of that.
Oh,
so
yeah. I walk by it every time.
Yeah.
It's like right down there in the corner.
yeah, and it's one of the coolest shops I've ever been in. And so my point is, it's like a really cool collaboration. Like government gives out a little bit of money, and it was just the impetus I know we needed to be like, hey, if we're gonna do this, like
Let's do it.
this is the time to do it, right?
And it's like a no-brainer from the city to be like, hey, we have an empty Main Street. Let's run a class to teach people how to fill this Main Street up and incentivize them with a little bit of money.
And to spend $60,000, which I know what we pay in taxes, like they've done pretty well on this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like genius. So,
Yeah.
and we're grateful for it because it helped us kind of, update this space
Yeah.
and everything. So
So once you start, I'm just curious, maybe this is too inside baseball, but you guys are very much coming as sort of like outsiders in the running industry, right? Like you didn't work at Marathon Sports.
Correct.
So once you go, okay, we're doing this business, we have the space, how do you get a hold of vendors? Like, are you just, are you
Oh
cold
my
emailing?
God.
Like,
that's a whole case
That's
study
a
question.
whole other podcast.
So
Oh my God.
you're exactly right. We have no experience in the industry, right? And so I think I've got some business experience and I can build some financial statements, but no tangible industry experience in this industry.
Yeah.
So
What models should I carry?
I mean,
Exactly.
I don't think we knew what a medial post was.
Yeah.
It was like,
we
no,
started,
what is that?
and the other huge assumption that I had in my mind was we're going to buy all this inventory, right? And if we don't sell it, we bear that risk, right? So
Right.
I assume we're going to reach out to a brand and say, hey, we're opening a shop.
We'd like to pay
carry
you
your
money.
product. And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. We'd love for you. That's not how, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Here's how you can apply.
Yeah, we got a brand or two, and then we started getting oh yeah, do you have this brand? No. Well, call us
You
when you
call
get
us
that
when
brand.
you get them.
And all the brands would kind of, and
We
which
got the
I totally
runaround.
understand. The
Oh.
brands are protecting themselves, but that was a big challenge. It's
Yeah.
okay, we're going to have to develop relationships and just kind of be persistent. And I mean, over time, we, and actually not that long a time, we opened with
It's true.
almost every brand that we had initially wanted, and we added one more about a year or two
A year and a half
So-
later.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean those are the kind of things that we just didn't realize kind of when we started it and had to.
Yeah, that was by far the most challenging thing that we faced, was
Right.
getting the brands to talk to us and getting them to open accounts with us. And it's like it's like the cart before the horse kind of thing. We can't have a running shop if we don't have running shoes.
Right.
Right.
And many of them were like, give us a call when you're up and running. It's like, well, that pun feels really painful right now,
Yeah.
but also we cannot do this without you.
Yeah.
So I think what's interesting for me is that now we've been doing this for 7 years now. That pain point became my greatest joy. The difficulty of getting those brands and getting those relationships and getting them to work with us, getting them on our team. Now, I would say working with people from the brands is one of my favorite parts of what we get to do. And those relationships that we have built with those, I mean, when I say the brands, the people that work at the brands.
Right.
I don't know, I think that is, when I reflect on it, that's one of my favorite things that we get to experience doing this work.
But, I mean, it's a challenge. Like, Lexington's 7,000 people, all right? The county is a little over 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you're, you know, coming from a brand perspective, you're like Google Maps and like, where is this and how big?
It's kind of a
It's
miracle
like,
that any of them sign with us.
and so then I'm trying to like run projections of like what I think our sales could be, right?
Right.
Because I know like I mean, we're fortunate, like rent's not crazy, you know, I've got all this, you know, I know all the expenses, but like how many shoes are we actually
Right.
selling?
Right.
And so we just kind of relied on, we have a huge retirement community and a huge college community, and both are pretty active communities. And
Okay.
so,
And speaking of the college community, because you're a professor at the university, you also are involved with the cross-country team,
yep.
right?
hmm yeah. So, yeah, I got involved with them sort of, I guess a few years after we opened here, but one really cool thing that university does is they have a faculty mentor for every one of the varsity athletic teams, so that those athletes and coaches kind of have a place to go to talk about, you know, whatever. Maybe there's a conflict. Maybe we had an athlete, one of our top runners a couple of years ago, tell a new faculty member that he was going to miss, you know, class on Friday for a race, and the faculty thought he was like running a 5K or something, like a local fundraiser race, and they were like, no, you can't miss class.
Right.
And he was like, well, I'm on the team, and you know. Anyway, so he came to me and was like, what do I tell him? And so it was a miscommunication, right? But
Right.
that's kind of what we you know, help the student athletes communicate with the faculty and make sure the sort of there's as seamless as possible between academics and athletics.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to a few cross-country meets.
You guys are very much in like the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's really beautiful here.
Yeah.
What are some like if somebody's traveling through and they're stopping, or maybe like they're bringing their kids to college and they want to get a run, what are some like good places in this area to run? Like good loops, good routes, good trails.
Yeah, there's so many. Well, the Chessie Trail is a great spot to go for a number of reasons. One, it's beautiful. One of the best features of it, though, especially for someone who's just like popping in town, is it's easy and simple. You can't get lost. There's not 1,000 turns. There's not tons of like car crossings, so it's nice and safe. So it's a 7-mile trail that runs from Lexington to Buena Vista, and it's one of those like rails to trails.
All right, we're running on the Chessie Trail. As far as I can tell, this is long, it's flat, it's right along a river. It's a really good place to do those like longer, faster, easy runs. Maybe throwing in a tempo. You just want something flat that you can kind of rip some quicker miles on. I guess rip is a weird word. I say rip, I feel like I should have a surfboard and just like be in or near the ocean. I'm gonna go rip some miles. Well, that sounds dangerous. This is the type of trail where you can really hear the dirt under your feet. Now, you can peel off at one of these side trails here, walk down, there's like an overlooked deck. All right, reading these, no trespassing, dusk till dawn. Okay, that's fine, I'm not gonna do that. Take only photos. Oh shit.
Brushy Hills
Brushy Hills.
is like 2 miles outside of town. It's a trail network, like single track technical trails, and there's actually a race that we sponsor coming up in 2 weeks out there called the Nasty 9. So it's 9 miles, 2,000 feet of elevation gain. It's awful.
It's fun. It's really
It's
fun.
nasty, but
It's-
afterwards it's a great. I mean, people
Yeah.
are just exhausted. One of the local restaurants here like has breakfast burritos afterwards, so it's like
Perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely like I'm gonna
It-
crush a breakfast burrito after this.
And I would say if you had to do one race in Lexington, and they have the 4 mile challenge, which is well named because it's still challenging. I would pick the Nasty 9. It's just really well done, and the after vibes are really fun and relaxed.
We're at Brushy Hills Preserve. Colin, how you feeling?
Good.
You're not gonna murder me out here, are you?
No, that's
2 seconds in, ran into a spider web, so ready to kill myself. He thinks I'm funny. And so how long did these trails actually go for?
that's a good question. There's probably, I mean, obviously you can put together 9 miles of it.
Have you ever watched the show Hiking with Kevin? The comedian Kevin Nealon?
No.
Oh, okay. So he has.
I might have seen that on the YouTube feed.
That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
He just interviews like comedians and celebrities. They just hike around LA, and I'm pretty sure he'll sue us if he sees this. So I'm gonna put your name on it. You know, are there ever like bears?
Yes.
Oh. Like, oh yeah, people get attacked all the time.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't want to skip over, I think you mentioned Jacob's Ladder.
Yes.
I'm going to say the name wrong. Town Farm House. What is it?
House Mountain.
House Mountain.
House
Isn't
Mountain.
that on your sign?
Yes, so House Mountain is the mountain that's in our logo. It's the mountain that's just so dominant.
The iconic skyline.
Exactly. It's the when you pull into town, you can see House Mountain from most views.
It's beautiful.
So it's we really wanted our logo to reflect a sense of place. And when you think of Lexington, you think of House Mountain. So
Totally. Where do you hope this goes? Like, where do you see it going? And I don't necessarily mean just like growth as a business, but just like growth as a community. Like, when you look down the barrel, like, what are you hoping it looks like in the future?
yeah, I don't know. I feel like you and I might answer this question a little bit differently.
You hoping
You
Sloan
start.
takes over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's I guess unique about us is that, you know, most shops sort of want to expand and grow and open new doors and all that, which is great. That's just not, I don't think, either one of our desires. We always say we want to be hyper local. Like, we want to be here. We want to know our customers. Like Jess knows everybody's name who comes through the door and their shoe size, you know, what they've been wearing.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree, Colin. I think in our industry, as in probably most industries, this idea of growth and expansion and opening other doors and getting bigger and more successful, I think the older I get, the more I want to kind of tweak my goals a little bit. And when I think about growth and success, I want to make it something I can do every day. So instead of having some external goal that once I reach it, then what? I think that can be kind of an empty pursuit. I think those of us that are really hardworking, and most entrepreneurs are this way, like, we're setting high goals and we're shooting for the moon, we're trying to qualify for this or achieve that. And I think I've learned to make a shift there in my goals. And I think I'd rather just be a better boss today than I was last week. I want to serve my customers better every day. So I want to grow in that way. I want to grow in wisdom. I want to grow in discipline and, you know, adjusting our orders and getting better at futures, and Colin's laughing. I want to get discipline in those ways so we can give more back to our community.